Welcome to another Million Lords for Dummies video. So I want to cover in this video a new strategy that I have been trying out and has been working pretty well for me, honestly. I wanted to maybe do the seasonal bug report along with this video, but I really didn't think I had enough time to do that along with a solid coverage of this strategy for you guys. So I'm not going to be doing that, but I will try to incorporate it maybe later this week or this weekend. I'll try to make that video for you guys and cover all the seasonal bugs, because I've had a good bit of people responding to me and letting me know the bugs that they're experiencing. And so I will be putting that together and hopefully get to that later. Nothing too game breaking this season, but yeah. So basically, just to cover my strategy for the season, I started off by finding a good area. I initially was looking for places like this where there's two temples really close together, but people also see those and put their main next to them. As you can see, there's like 4 mains around this area, 5 maybe, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's 5 just around this area. There's another one nearby, and there. So yeah, I didn't really like areas like that, but I did find this area where you can see 4 temples in close access, and they're all of different types. So it's great if I need a temple. My clan has been holding temples really well, so I haven't had to make attacks on temples. Of course, early season, I sui leveled into temples at 200% experience for the most part, up to level 50, 55 before I went after cities. And of course, if people are taking my temple, I can time it where I would snipe them, whatnot, depending on their guardian. Now, what I will say is, if you are attacking someone, and of course, generally you're going to be sniping because your salvager, of course, got a nerf a few seasons back. So scavenger is generally higher. So most people are going to be sniping instead of walling in temples. Now, of course, doing both is fine, but making the most gold out of it, you'd probably be sniping, which is basically having an attack land like a second after the person's attack lands. Now, this sucks for people that don't have Weapon Master, because they're likely set into their striker gear when their attack lands. And then your attack is landing like a second after theirs, and so it hits them, they have no brave, and they lose 99% of your troops because you get 1% back. And then from there, your troops show up at the top of the battle report, and it says like wounded or like heal and something. And it won't really let you heal them unless you drop to a certain KP level, and then you have to buy them back using sapphires, which costs real money unless you saved them up. And one thing you can do to reduce that amount is level up, I believe, because higher level you are, the game notices you should have more troops, and so the troops that you did lose earlier will go down in value because it's not as high of a percentage of what you should have than before. So that's something you could do. Try to level up first, if possible. But so basically, I leveled to maybe 50 or whatever. Then I tried to keep these temples a little bit just to make gold. Took this general area, but it's really hard to keep cities early season, because if you didn't know, basically with notifications, if you are sending attacks to temples, you get notifications for them. Or if people are sending attacks to your temple, you get notification for it. If they're sending it to your city, you really only get a notification if it's over a minute-long march. So this is something to keep in mind if you don't want to notify someone that you're attacking them, assuming they're offline. try to send marches that are under a minute long. And let's see if I got that. That's not showing up, but try to send marches that are under a minute long. And even if it means like for 75s, it has 50 mil, so you might be tempted to send over 100 mil to take it so you're not losing over 10%. Because 10% and under is a nice margin of loss for a general attack. Personally, if it's 200% experience, I'm fine losing 20% margin on my attacks. Of course, not with my full stack, but, smaller marches. So, damn, what was I saying? I'm like all over the place. So yeah, it's smart to keep in mind that you might want to send like a 90 mil attack so that it stays under a minute for these. But anyways, once I got this area, because a lot of people were sending smaller attacks because I had lower level cities and it was under a minute, wasn't getting notifications, I was losing a lot of my cities. And so I wanted to level up my cities higher. But when you do this, then you don't really make as much gold back when people attack because they attack with larger amounts. But you can sometimes wall them. So it was kind of iffy on what strategy I'd use. So then I thought to myself, because I saw this used earlier, where basically instead of having a main area where all your cities are, then you branch out. And this, I lost a few here. I had this whole grouping. All the 80s are where I had. So I branched out and I took little groupings of areas where my cities are. And because I didn't want just to have the base 217 mil wall, initially these start at level 80 instead of 83, then I added a few troops in it. And generally I'm keeping it around 20 mil. I just had this at 76 mil because I was going to demo others. So from that area. So generally I keep around like 20, 30 mil in the cities. And so I'm trying to see if I have a good representation of this. I guess this is good enough. So instead of the 217, I basically double the defense to 438. So I'm doubling how many troops, well, I don't know if I'm doubling how many troops I'm going to kill, but I'm doubling the amount of walls my city has so that I make more gold off of every attack. And I'm really only losing like roughly 7-8 mil. And because I'm making 50 mil an hour, I don't really care if I'm losing a few mil off this because of the gold I'm making, the experience I'm making to level up. For instance, let me see if I find an example. This guy, so this guy, as you see, I only had 13 mil in this one. And I actually quite literally broke even. But he sent like 4 times the wall for this. So it's not always like that. But let me see. Like this one I made a bit more gold than I spent. And so it's generally that way. And sometimes I'm even making 2 times the gold that I spent, which allows me to then put it demo and take other cities. So demo like these cities by chance and then level them up. And now I have a new area. And initially I had under 30 cities. And so I was able to take neutral cities, which are just the level 1 cities that you see everywhere when you open the game first day of the season. And so I'd jump to an island, then attack from that city, from a neutral. But once I got over 30 cities, you, of course, can't take neutrals. So then you have to take either the level... Oh, what? That's weird. My march didn't land. I have to reload for that. So you have to take these cities, which is basically if someone is inactive for 5 days, their cities turn gray, and you can attack up to 30 of them a day, even if you have over 30 cities. And so I did that when I do see them. And otherwise, I would jump through temples. So you can see a lot of my groupings that I have, if I have any more, because people have been taking them. These aren't through temples, because this is one of the neutral areas. I just jumped through a neutral city here, basically. But a lot of times it's around a temple. You can see I have a temple here and here. So I jump through the temple, attack around it to cities. And some people block me, some people are offline, whatever. Unfortunately, you can't multi-scout from temples anymore. This has been a while. It hasn't let you multi-scout from temples for a long time, so nothing too crazy. But I basically would just send a march to all the cities around that are like level 65 and under. Hopefully a couple would land. Then I would make that one of my bases. I put my troops in it, then level it up to level 80, 83, then start sending attacks from there. And normally you'd find a person that doesn't really wall you or is offline. And so you can take all their cities, level them up, and of course throw like 20, 30 mil in each one to raise its defensive capabilities. And what this also does is it makes it a lot harder for people to take your cities, because you're not in just one group. You have like 5 or 6 areas where all your cities are. And so it makes it so you stay at a higher KP, then you're making more troops an hour. So it kind of makes it so you can realistically use this strategy effectively, because the troops that are killed in your cities, you're making, more than that anyways. And of course, gold production and whatever else comes with it. And so I really like this strategy. I will say it won't work as effectively in silver or plat. Gold is almost the perfect league for this strategy. And of course, if I had higher stats, I could maybe even pull it off in diamond. I think I'd almost nearly have to have double the stats. Instead of almost 100 base salve, I'd probably have to have almost 200 base salve to pull it off in diamond. And even plat, I'm not going to be making as much gold per defense on this, so I might put more troops in my cities, or I don't know how I'll adapt it, but I will try the strategy again in plat and cover it then. But I will say, if you want to try it out and you're in Silver League, then you're going to likely have to attack through maybe neutral cities, of like I mentioned earlier, and then demo from there. And to demo, you have to have 160 minimum striker, but you realistically want over 200. If you can make it higher, that'd be great, but it is up to you. Just at least 160, I think maybe even 165, because you do have to overcome the wall. And like that's just the minimum. So that would be how you would overcome that. Either jumping through neutrals or jumping through with just pink players that you're barely able to attack. Like you can even look on leaderboard probably and see, if you're higher in the leaderboard, where people are. So like this guy is just below what I'd be able to attack now, but I was able to attack him earlier. And so you can see different players. I would need like 3.3 mil in order to attack roughly someone. And so you can look around and see that people are 3.3 mil. Then you can attack them and just demo from there. Or you can mass attack them to take more without knocking them under the demo level before that. And yeah, of course you want to be in cautious gear for this. So just equip your cautious items. I personally have it within 3 items. I am 1 diamond gem away. Or I guess if I got 2 gold cautious gems, if I got those at the end of this season, I could do that as well. Oh, I actually just need 1. My bad. So if I get 1 gold cautious gem at the end of the season, then I can make this a 3-star, and I can have cautious on 2 pieces. And then I just replace that with my guardian item for that, which is right here, I believe. Yeah, so see, it goes down to 49, and your max is 50. So I just have it that last one equipped. So, yeah, that's pretty much the strategy. I think it's working well, keeping my cities safer, and I don't really care if I lose them because I'm making more gold than what I spent on them. And then I'm just demoing, taking more cities, upgrading them again, putting troops in them, defending them. If they send long enough marches, you can defend, of course, as well. You don't have to let people take them. And I've done that a couple times as well. And yeah, otherwise, make sure you're in a clan if you're, of course, in gold or gold league and up. Be in a clan to get your maximum speed and striker, which helps with demos quite a bit. And otherwise, that's pretty much the overview of my strategy. And yeah, I hope you've liked it. And maybe you have time to try it out this season even. But I wanted to just go over it with you guys. And feel free to ask questions because I feel like I did jump around a little bit. But I did want to... this is the second time making it because I was jumping around way too much in the first video. So hopefully this one was a bit more clear than the first one. And yeah, feel free to join my Discord channel, which I'll post in the description of this video, where you can ask any questions you'd like, keep up with new videos and content, giveaways, etc. And otherwise, feel free to leave a comment if you have questions, corrections, analysis, whatever, or even want to contribute to my bug report video, which I'll be posting later, maybe in the next 5 days or so. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't. Leave a like, I guess. And hope you have a great day, great rest of the